Hopefully the ambient noise isn't too bad.
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Katrinka Wants to Know on Katrinka LOL. And today we have an exciting interview with Alan Schmitt, who is a musician and a teacher of music. So I have some questions here for him. And so welcome to Katrinka LOL, Alan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
So tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into music, your training.
Yeah, so it started when I was a kid. My brother was, my family is pretty musical, so my parents both, they weren't professional musicians, but they were amateur musicians, and they played a variety of instruments. My brother started playing drums when I was a kid, and my brother was a couple years older than me, so he was really cool to me. Still is, but was cool at the time, and I wanted to play the drums too, to be like my brother, I think. So I started playing percussion in elementary school. And then when I got into high school, I switched over to brass, and I started playing baritone horn and the mellophone, and a few other instruments in the marching band and then symphonic bands. And after high school, my initial plan was actually to go to Berklee College of Music in Boston, because I had been accepted, and the plan was to go. But for whatever reason, I was just kind of burnt out on school as a high schooler, and I was ready to take a break from school. So I ended up joining the military instead, which was an interesting choice at the time.
So what branch?
So I was in the Army Reserves.
Okay.
So directly out of high school, I went away for training, and spent some time in the Army. Wasn't doing music in the Army. I was doing communications and information technology kinds of things. But after my service was done, I finally went back to college, and I attended the College of Charleston here in Charleston. And my degree is in jazz guitar performance, so I got to train with some amazing professors. They're still friends of mine from around Charleston. So I got a degree in jazz performance. And then since then, I taught public school for a little while. I taught computer science at Academic Magnet High School. And these days, I'm a full-time musician. So I just ran my numbers recently. The last 2 years, 2024 and 2025, I played over 500 shows with over 40 different bands.
Impressive.
Mainly around Charleston. So that's my main career is playing or performing music. I play for weddings, corporate events. I play at restaurants and bars. I play wherever I'm called to play. Okay.
So at the end, I'll ask for your contact information in case anyone wants to contact you.
Yeah, awesome.
And we'll put it in the description below as well.
Yeah.
So what was your biggest inspiration?
My biggest, honestly, I think music has been, it feels generic to say, but music has always, I've always felt a draw and a pull to music. Just from being a kid, I think back to like hearing a song and being so amazed by one song, and then I listened to that song over and over again, 100 times. Mm-hmm. And just trying to see like what's special about this? Why am I drawn to this so much? Mm-hmm. So I honestly think throughout my life that music itself sort of has always been the inspiration and the draw, especially early on. Nowadays, I think I get inspiration from day-to-day life, from friends, family, from my wife. I think you can find inspiration in everyday things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, even the sound of birds and things like that.
Yeah, you can find music anywhere if you look for it. It's just a matter of categorizing it as music versus something else.
So I've heard music categorized as a language.
Yeah, I very, very much agree that music is a language, and it's hard to explain. It's an interesting language because it's hard to explain. It's not really a language that can be translated easily into something like English or some other, spoken or written language. But I think undeniably when we hear music, we react. And so when we're playing music, I think we're sort of constantly communicating things to one another. That's to our audience. That's to our fellow musicians that we're sharing music with. But it's not even a question to me. Like, I communicate all the time with friends when I play music with them.
Yeah.
And I think when I play music with anybody, I'm trying to communicate, trying to express something to them. They're trying to express something to me. Maybe we're hopefully trying to express something together that works well together. You know.
So the audience gets the communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you certainly did when you were younger because you were so drawn to it.
Yes.
It was communicating.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your favorite thing about teaching guitar?
I've always kind of been drawn to teaching throughout my life. And whether it's guitar or teaching, because I've taught a lot of different subjects, I think it's about making connection. Like, seeing people make connections is really awesome to me. So having a student that has sort of a breakthrough or has a moment where they have some sort of a revelation it's really, really powerful. It's really, really cool to be on the sidelines watching that. I think back to my own experience in college. You know, my guitar teacher, Tyler Ross, I would have private lessons with him every week. And I would walk out of those lessons sometimes just with a head full of thoughts, or, you know, just like an overwhelming feeling of like, oh, wow, like, I really like, it's starting to make sense, you know? So I think I've always been drawn to seeing people make those connections themselves too.
So that moment when it starts to make sense, and it's not such a foreign language, is amazing.
Yeah.
And I've kind of experienced that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get there.
Yeah.
So what is your general teaching philosophy?
Well, I think it's important for people to be comfortable. I think music's a weird thing. I think anyone that's taken music lessons or been in like an academic music setting kind of knows there's this pressure, and you feel, it's hard to explain, but you feel you really want to get it right. You're like, I really don't want to mess this up, you know? And I think that can be a deterrent for people if they get too bogged down in trying to sound good, or in worrying so much about the external thing. I think is a big thing. I think you can really stunt your own growth that way if you're not careful and you're not patient with yourself. I think you have to be really patient with yourself. I think is a really important thing. As a teacher, obviously, patience is really important. But I think patience with ourselves is really like one of the most important things. And I think being encouraging is important when we're teaching. I think having sort of just a positive view of what we're working on, and the understanding that things take time. You know, this isn't an instantaneous thing. If this was easy, this wouldn't really be as exciting or as fun or as entertaining as music is. You know, anything that you've worked really hard and you've developed the skill over a long period of time, over many, many hours, it's much more rewarding, I think.
You know, I tend to laugh if I make a mistake rather than smashing the guitar. You know? Yes. I guess that's a good thing.
That's a very good thing, yeah. Saving a lot of guitars.
Yeah, my guitars are in good shape.
Your guitars are in great shape. You take really, really good care of them.
So here's the next question. I'm a retired nurse. So I remember my patients from when I worked as a nurse, even decades later, even 50 years later, and I'm dating myself now, but is it the same for guitar teachers also? In my experience, yes. In my experience, because I think I've worked in teaching when it comes to computer science, and I've taught programming, I've taught cybersecurity, I've taught all these different things. And I think anytime I've spent a lot of one-on-one time with a student, I'm definitely going to remember them. Arguably my first student I ever taught was actually a friend of mine in high school, who I had been playing the guitar, and he decided to pick it up, and he came to me and he's like, hey, can you help me develop my skills? And I still talk to him regularly. I just talked to him the other day. And that was my entry point into
seeing the kind of that cool spark, because he was somebody who went out and spent 3 or 4 hours a day practicing the guitar. So he was asking me for guidance. He did the majority of the work. You know, the work is the practicing, is the playing, is the putting time in. And I still think about him a lot. And that was my first student. I still think about lessons that we shared back, 20 years ago all the time. And even my current students, I think a lot about my current students and where they are. And I think doing something like lessons is always a two-way street. I think I learned something from. I think I learned a lot of things from you. I think I've learned a lot of things from everyone that I interact with and that I teach.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's great.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what life's about. It's about learning and sharing experiences.
Yes. So what is up and coming in the world of music for you?
What is up and coming? So like I said, I currently play a lot around town in Charleston. Play in a bunch of different bands. I play a lot of different styles of music. I'm out pretty regularly. You can check my schedules available online to see where I'm performing. In addition to playing, a lot of what I do is playing cover music, is playing at weddings, playing at corporate events and stuff. You're playing other people's music usually, but I also play in several original bands. There's a lot of original music coming out of Charleston right now that's really good. So I'm going, like this week I'll be leaving Thursday for a mini tour with an original artist called Local Nomad that I play with, who has some really great music. He's Charleston based, and we're going to be going around to Charlotte and Greenville and Boone, North Carolina this weekend, playing some shows there. I have another original band that I'm a part of called Augie Wisco that we just started releasing music a couple months ago. So that I have a lot of stuff kind of in the works with them coming out this year. I have some other original music. I have stuff that I recorded years ago that has been sitting, and I have a really great mix mastering engineer now in Connecticut. I have him doing a lot of work for me and getting some music that I can actually put out in the world, put out on Spotify and Apple Music and all the streaming services.
So you compose?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh. Yeah.
And write lyrics?
Yes, I wrote a lot when I was younger. These days I don't write as much, but I do a lot of arranging and co-writing and helping other people that have brought a song to the table.
Yeah.
I'll help them kind of tweak that and make it better or make it different, just bring some interesting, just some interesting points to it.
You know who else did that?
Who's that?
David Gates.
David Gates, yeah.
From Red.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he helped people.
Yeah,
with arranging and.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's one of the funnest things for me in music is getting to arrange and taking an original idea and seeing it through to completion to wherever it ends up. Anyways, I think songs are always evolving, but reaching a level where this is something that can be put out to the world where people can listen to it, I think is important.
Well, how do you know?
How do you know?
How do you know that it's ready to go out in the world?
That's such a great question. That I don't know if you ever do. And this is, I think, a common thing with musicians in particular, because I've worked with a lot of musicians that are songwriters that have songs that I've participated in, and they've never felt like it was done, so they never released it. There's a lot of great music that the world is missing out on because people never felt like they were ready. Yeah. My personal philosophy is get it to where it's not bothering you. There aren't any things standing out, hopefully too much within it. Because when you work on an original piece of music, there are a lot of aspects to it and a lot of minutia that you have to worry about. And you want to make sure that none of that's standing out as bothering you. And then at that point, I kind of think it's time to release it. And I think people get really caught up in perfection. Mm-hmm. And I wish they didn't get so caught up in perfection sometimes, because my other philosophy is like, put the song out. If you don't like it 6 months from now, make a better song. Yeah. This should be an ongoing process. It's not it's not like a one time and this is done and that's it. You can even take old songs that you wrote years ago and revisit them and rework them and make them new.
Yeah. So I'm an artist and I paint,
Hmm.
So my criteria basically is, if I like it, then,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
You know? So if you like the song, then there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
So do you have a favorite venue or style of music?
Yeah, venue. I had a lot of great venues in Charleston. Lucky to get to play a lot of these places. I guess if I had to pick a favorite venue right now, I have a weekly gig on Wednesday nights at the Dinghy on Isle of Palms,
Okay.
it's a dive bar, but it's a really fun dive bar. Great staff, great food, great drinks, and just it's got a really good vibe out there. I've been playing there for a little over 3 years now. With one band, and the main band sort of decided to take a break last September. So I've been filling the gig since then, and I've used it as an opportunity to bring all sorts. I brought in a lot of different bands already there on Wednesday nights. We're called the Almost Every Wednesday Band because we're there almost every Wednesday. We miss some here and there, but that's probably my favorite venue right now to be in town. I really like the staff, and the people out there are really fun. And yeah, it's got a really good vibe. It's a block away from the ocean. I mean, you can't, it's so cool to be so close to the beach, you know?
Atmosphere is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because with the music, you're creating atmosphere.
Yes.
And the audience is creating atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the venue itself is creating atmosphere. So it all kind of comes together.
Yeah, absolutely. I film every week, so I'm building a library of all these performances over there, and we've had people come and dance all the time. We have dancers pretty often. We've had people come, and there were memorial services that were happening. They were dedicating it to their friend that passed away that was a regular there in the middle of we've had all sorts of, you never know what you're going to find on a Wednesday night on the Isle of Palms.
Nice.
And you asked style of music too, right?
Yes.
And that's hard. Style of music is hard for me to pick. I studied jazz. I do love jazz, but it's really hard for me to pick one style. One of the things I really love about my career is that I get to play with so many different kinds of bands. I play, we do pop cover tunes at weddings. I play with a great Cuban jazz artist, Gino Castillo, who lives here in Charleston. Get to play with him sometimes, playing like traditional Cuban music, which is really unique. Playing original music can be really fun, I think, because it's exciting, because it's new, A lot of the original bands I play with would probably fall in the like alternative rock sort of style of music, I would say.
So what is alternative rock? Is that more mellow, or?
Alternative rock usually can be mellow, but it's usually like, we think a lot about like the 90s, like popular music in the 90s was very alternative driven, like even the grunge scene. Okay. We don't really play like Nirvana necessarily, but sometimes maybe,
Okay.
So it's hard for me to pick one style of music, but I really like the fact that I get to play in so many different styles of music on a regular basis.
Yeah, it keeps it fresh.
Yeah, I'm not playing the same 15 songs, 6 nights a week. That would get old really fast. So I like being able to change it up.
I wonder about that with, the professionals, the high level, who are singing the same things all the time. Do they get sick of it?
I think some of them do. I think a lot of them may.
Okay.
I think a lot of artists try to find ways to combat that. So whether that's an established artist that maybe has a huge catalog of songs, maybe they want to change. You look at a bands like the Grateful Dead, Bob Weir just passed away, or Fish, and these bands were known for not playing the same song. They change it up all the time. Like you can go see these bands and you have no idea what you're gonna experience. I think that's one way to combat it. I think maybe within the song itself, finding ways to give it new life. Maybe like taking a familiar song that you've been playing. If you're a touring artist, you've been playing the same song over and over again for months. Maybe you can find another way to arrange it, or change the instrumentation, or like the whole idea of like the MTV Unplugged, doing an acoustic version of a song might give it a brand new feeling.
Excellent. Now this is something I want to hear. What advice would you give to those wanting to take up guitar but are afraid to? They're afraid maybe they're afraid that they're going to fail, or they're just not going to be good at it, or whatever.
Yeah. I think I guess, like, being someone that's played music my whole life, the idea of failing it's almost like I don't even know how to like, what is failing? It's hard. It's hard to even define what failing is, I guess. But I think remembering, being patient with yourself, like I said earlier, is super important. Mm-hmm. And there's one of my jazz professors, Dave Haywood, would write a quote on the chalkboard in the jazz room every day at the College of Charleston, and he would do different quotes. And I'll never forget, I came in one day, because he taught the class before we would come in there, and I came in one day, and the quote on the chalkboard was, "Don't be afraid, it's just music." And I have not been able to get that out of my head since then. This is 10
that's powerful,
12 years ago. Remembering, like, it's just music. Like, we don't have to be so serious about everything, I think. And I see pretty regularly at shows, people will come up to me and they'll say, "Oh, I used to play the saxophone in high school. I wish I had never given it up." And my answer is always, well, pick it up now. Like,
exactly,
it's not too late. I have a student in his 80s, who's never played a guitar for his entire life, and he is ready to pick it up and learn it now.
Nice.
I mean, what's
beautiful.
Yeah, I think people get so worried about failure, I guess. But, like, what is failing? Like, a kid, give a little child a little ukulele, and they're gonna have fun with it. And
it's just fun.
Yeah, and I think music should always be fun. It can be work too, but I think if it's not fun, then that sort of ruins the spirit of it.
Yeah.
So I think being afraid, I guess, being patient with yourself, understanding that this is a skill that takes a long time to develop. I think a lot of skills like playing music, or whether that's knitting or quilting, right? You take any skill like this that takes a while to develop your abilities in, and the payoff is going to be in the journey. The payoff is going to be the small victories that you encounter. You're like, oh, I remembered how that song went, or I remembered how this thing, I remember how to do this thing, something that I didn't remember a couple weeks ago. Right. That's a victory. Like, we should celebrate victories like that, I think, more.
Right. Well, I have this saying that somebody said, and I forgot the guy's name, but I'll put it in the description below, and that's, an artist cannot fail. It's a success just to be one. Yeah. And I look at it every day on my wall, and that's it's awesome. Like, oh, that's very encouraging. Yeah. I think people need to remember sometimes that music is art, and I think people do forget. I think a lot of musicians forget that music is art. Mm-hmm. And it's not about, there are music situations where, okay, if you're the fastest drummer competition where you're trying to do something, you're playing as many notes as possible, as fast as possible. That's now it's a sport. Now it's an Olympic sort of thing. But I don't think music should be treated that way. And I think a lot of musicians, even a lot of professional musicians, think about, oh, so-and-so is better than so-and-so. And I'm just at the point where it's like, it's not about better or worse in terms of technical ability. Like, it's important to have some technical ability to be able to communicate what you want to communicate and express yourself the way you want to express yourself. And I think, music is an important tool for self-expression. I think every human being should have some way to express themselves, whether that's painting or playing music or designing, graphics on a computer, or, I mean, you can find art anywhere, if you look for it. So I think that's the important thing. Yeah. And one last question. Yeah. What's one piece of advice that you received that propelled you forward in music?
That's a really good question. I think early on, I fell into this trap when I was learning guitar, and earlier on, and when I was a kid still, where I think I was always looking for shortcuts, and I was always, because you have milestones and you have goals you want to get to with any skill, right? The same can be true with guitar, but I think maybe reminding my younger me, it's not about a shortcut. It's not about getting to that goal necessarily, but it's about the journey along the way is how you're developing the skill. Mm-hmm. You know, there's the kind of the classic example that takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. And I think that's a generalization. I don't, everyone's going to be different, but I think it's a good way to frame the fact that this is going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort, that I have to be doing this hands-on. And that what you're doing is developing that skill. So I think maybe I would tell somebody that's new, don't look for shortcuts so much. Like, enjoy the journey. The journey is kind of the point. And if you can get lost in the journey and you can try and have fun with that, then it's going to make the process so much more fun for you and so much more enjoyable, I think.
You're always going to be on the journey.
Yeah.
It's never going to end.
It never ends. Yeah, it never ends. Yeah, you're never going to, there's no point in music where you're like, oh, I've achieved some level. That's not a thing.
There's always more.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of it being art too. I think that's the way art should be. I think art should be a constant search and a constant journey.
And one of my sayings is that art naturally expands.
Yeah.
In and of itself.
Yeah, and I can see that for a particular body of work, as well as I can see it for the work, the art within the greater context of the world too. Yeah, it's people are constantly releasing new music. Yeah. They're constantly doing new things. They're creating new techniques. I think that's kind of the beauty of it.
So I'll put that saying in the description box so you can read that. And how can people get a hold of you if they want to? Yeah, so my name is Alan Schmitt. I have a website. It's Alan, ALAN dash, that's a hyphen, Schmitt, SCHMITT.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook and all the social media. I'm actually not on TikTok, but I'm on all the other social media platforms, so you can track me down there. I have my schedule posted every week on my Instagram and on my Facebook and on my website as well. Well, this was delightful, this interview, and I learned a lot. Cool. And me too. I hope that you enjoyed this interview. We have some more coming up, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah.